Welcome back, dear students. How are you all? I hope you all are in good health and taking care of yourself and your family members. Stay home and stay safe, students. Okay, students, so let's start our today's session. Today, I would like to explain a new lesson. Before we going to start our today's session, I would like to ask some questions related to this topic. Students, may I know? Look at this picture first. May I know what is this picture about? Yes, friends, it's correct. This picture is about Qutub Minar. Qutub Minar is one of the highest minaret in India. It is one of the World Heritage Site and tallest brick minaret in the world. Now, may I know, students, who was the founder of this Qutub Minar? Yes, Qutbuddin Aibak. He was the founder of this Qutub Minar. He started the construction of Qutub Minar, but somehow he could not complete it. He only constructed the basement, and the construction of the tower was later taken over by his successor. His name is Shamsuddin Iltutmish. Now we talked about Qutbuddin Aibak and Shamsuddin Iltutmish. Students, may I know what we call them or who were they? Yes, they were the Sultans of Delhi. So today's session we are going to learn a new chapter, that is lesson number 3 of history, and the name of the lesson is the Sultans of Delhi. Delhi Sultanate refers to the various Muslim dynasty that ruled in India, and it was founded after Muhammad of Ghori. He was the ruler of the Ghor kingdom. He defeated Prithviraj Chauhan and captured Delhi. Now about all this we are going to do the detailed study in this lesson. Muhammad Ghori, he was the ruler of the Ghor kingdom. He wanted to extend his territory right up to North India, and in this conquest with Prithviraj Chauhan. In 1119, Prithviraj Chauhan defeated Ghori in the first battle of Tehran, and in 1192, the second battle of Tehran, Ghori attained an absolute victory over Prithviraj Chauhan. So in second battle of Tehran, Muhammad Ghori, he became the winner. He won the battle and he got control over Delhi. Now we will see the establishment of the Delhi Sultanate. This victory led to the foundation of the Delhi Sultanate, which ruled the country from 1206 till 1526, and this period saw the rule of 5 powerful dynasties. These 5 powerful dynasties were slave dynasties, Khalji dynasties, Tughlaq dynasties, Sayyid dynasties, and Lodhis dynasties. This period paved the way for a new cultural amalgamation. It means the combination. Amalgamation means combination of the Hindu and Muslim culture. This led to the emergence of a composite culture which was reflected in all the aspects of life: language, art, architecture, food, and dress. Now about this dynasty we are going to learn one by one. First one, that is slave dynasty. Yes, slave dynasty. When Muhammad Ghori died in 1206, his most trusted slave Qutbuddin Aibak, he became the chief of his territory in India. Aibak is considered to the founder of Mamluk dynasty. Now the term Mamluk, it means the slave or own. Therefore, this dynasty is also known as the slave dynasty. So here we understand why this dynasty is called as a slave dynasty. Now we will learn about the sultans of the slave dynasty one by one. First one, that is Qutbuddin Aibak. When Qutbuddin Aibak became the ruler, he realized that the new kingdom was vulnerable. Vulnerable here it means that possibility of being attacked or harmed. So he realized that the new kingdom was vulnerable both to internal and external threats. So he used matrimonial alliance. Now what is matrimonial alliance, students? It means the possibility of it means that the alliance between two countries, or we can say it's a union between the families by marriage. So he used this matrimonial alliance to strengthen his position. He married the daughter of Yildiz. he was the governor of Iran and had his daughter married to Iltutmish. Now, who was this Iltutmish? He was one of the most trusted slave and also the successor of his throne. So, Aibak was known for his generosity and kind-heartedness. So, he was given the name Lakshbaksh. It means the giver of lakhs. He built 2 mosques. These are the first one, that is Quwwat ul Islam, it is in Delhi, and second one, that is Adai Din Ka Zopra, it is in Ajmer. He even started the construction of Qutub Minar, but somehow he could not complete it. Aibak did not add to the Turkish conquest in India, and he died in 1210 when he fell off a horse while playing polo. So here we learnt about Qutbuddin Aibak. After him, second ruler of the slave dynasty, that is Shamsuddin Iltutmish. Shamsuddin Iltutmish, he was a slave and son-in-law of Aibak. He is regarded as the real founder of the Delhi Sultanate. He shifted the seat of governors from Lahore to Delhi. Thus, Delhi came to occupy the premier position as the capital of Hindustan. Iltutmish had to deal with many rebellions, but he was successful in defeating the rebels and executed most of them. He consolidated the Delhi Sultanate by extending his control up to the Indus and the whole of Multan and Sindh. Towards the east, he extended his control over Lucknow. He brought under his control the Rajput territories of Bayana, Ajmer and Sambar. Iltutmish created an entire new class of ruling elite which was called the Chalisa. Now, what is this word Chalisa? It means the group of 40. Now, the death of Iltutmish was followed by a decade of political instability in Delhi, which saw acute struggle among the nobles. Now, after Iltutmish, who became the ruler? Third one, that is Razia Sultanate. Iltutmish had nominated his daughter Razia to succeed him. However, he was succeeded by his son Ruknuddin Firoze. But his incompetence and unpopularity gave his sister Razia an opportunity to claim the throne. But Razia did not enjoy the support of the Turkish nobles. Eventually, with her political skill, she won over majority of the opposing leaders. She was a competent and brave ruler. Razia put on the tunic and headdress of a man's attire. So look at the picture here. You will understand that she put the headdress of a man's attire for day-to-day administration, and she even abandoned the veil. Veil, it means covering the face with the piece of cloth. It protecting the she protects the face. She appointed a non-Turkish and Abyssinian slave. His name is Malik Yakut as the superintendent of the stables. But this enraged it means made angry the Turkish nobles, and there was a rebellion in Delhi and elsewhere in the kingdom. The Chalisa Iltutmish created and the group, it means the group of 40. Thus Chalisa conspired means they make a secret plan which is unlawful. So the Chalisa conspired and killed her in 1239. After Razia Sultan, Nasiruddin Muhammad, he was just the figurehead king. The real power was wielded by his chief minister, and his name is Ghayasuddin Balban. On the death of Nasiruddin Muhammad, Balban became the king. Now we will learn about the Ghayasuddin Balban. Balban's ascendancy to the throne marked the beginning of an era which was characterized by centralized governors. He adopted the Iranian theory of kingship. Now, which was this theory? According to this theory, the king was divine and was the shadow of a god on the earth and hence must be obeyed. He introduced the Persian custom of Sijda and Paibos. Now, what is this Sijda and Paibos? Sijda, it means touching the ground with the forehead, and paibos, it means kissing the monarch's feet. So he introduced the Persian custom of sijda and paibos. He followed a policy of blood and iron and crush any rebellion with a heavy hand. He kept the nobility under strict control and created a strong spy system to keep them in a check. Balban brought about reforms in the internal administration. He enforced law. He had done many good work. He reforms in the internal administration. What he had done, we will learn this one by one. First one, he enforced law and order and reorganized the army. He constructed roads and made arrangement for interstate traffic. Again, the judiciary was straightened. He reformed the tax collection process, and provincial governors were frequently transferred. However, he could not successfully, but he had done many good things in this internal administration, but however, he could not successfully suppress the rebellion in Bengal under Tughril. Now, Balban died in 1287. The public order of the country was threatened with anarchy after Balban's death. The slave dynasty of Balban came to an end within 3 years of his death. In 1290, Jalauddin Khalji, he became the governor of Samana. Jalauddin Khalji, he was the governor of Samana. He occupied Delhi by military coup and declared himself as the Sultan, and he formed the Khalji dynasty. About this Khalji dynasty we will learn in the next session. So in today's session we learned about the slave dynasty, in which we learned about Qutbuddin Aibak, Shamsuddin Iltutmish, Razia Sultan, Nasiruddin Muhammad, Ghiyasuddin Balban, and we came to know that the slave dynasty of Balban came to an end within the 3 years of his death. Today's session is all about it, students. The remaining important key elements of this lesson we will continue in the next session. I hope you all understand today's session very clearly. Students, don't forget to write comments in the comment box, as it's going to consider your attendance. And I hope you all understand today's session very clearly. Have a nice day, students. Thank you.